Rock My Monkey TV. I'm sitting here with Paolo of the band Trivium. Paolo, how you doing?
Doing very well, getting wet.
All right, and please feel free when I hand the mic to you, grab the mic and make sure we get it.
Just be like,
just grab the mic from me and yeah, exactly. Pretend like you're in a metal band.
all right.
Yeah, all right. So Trivium is on this tour. You guys are now I remember picking pictures of you guys on the second stage, and now you're on the main stage, correct?
Well, actually, the way it's working on this tour is it's split into thirds. Right now, Machine Head's doing the first 8 shows on the main stage. Then we do like the next 7 or 8 shows on the main stage. Then In Flames does the next 7 or 8 shows on the main stage to the end of the tour. So we're closing the Jaeger stage, and then we switch to the main stage. So it's cool, works out good, so then everyone gets a little chance to be on the main stage and also a little get some of the second stage action, which is usually a little bit more violent over there, so fun times.
Cool. All right, now, but you guys have, and before, you guys were on that stage and always on that stage. So you have moved up in the world. Trivium has moved up. You're playing bigger venues. Every year on festivals like this, there's that one band on that second stage. You guys were that one band before. Who is that one band that everybody's going to go, what the fuck, where did they come from, and a couple of years they're going to be on the main stage?
Let me think of everyone that's on right now. I guess right now I'd say probably Suicide Silence is probably one of the bands that has the potential. I think they're definitely kind of coming into their own sound. They obviously came out in a kind of like, we came out during a trend of music. They've come out during a trend, but as you make albums, you sort of progress into your own sound, and I think that's what they're starting to do. From what I've heard of their newest CD, it sounds like they're kind of starting to incorporate a lot of other influences into it. So I think from the reaction of people, they're definitely one of the up-and-coming bands that, a couple of years from now could be in that same spot as well.
Okay. Now you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, there's so many bands I'm trying to keep track of. You guys just put out a new album, right? It just got released in June, I think? No, you're July.
August 9th.
August 9th. All right. See? So many bands. But you guys got an album coming out now. A lot of people tried to give you, at first they tried to give you guys the tag of Metallica tribute thing.
Metalcore.
And now it's, and then there was the metalcore tag. But you guys have definitely evolved from that. And I've noticed kind of a not to use the word in the negative sense, but I've noticed a trend of the big boys of metalcore have become the big boys of metalcore because, number one, they got it first. Number two, they've evolved past that and started to adopt more traditional metal stylings. How important do you think it is? I mean, how much of a trend was metalcore, and how much of it was it just a buzzword that journalists use?
I guess it's 50-50. I guess metalcore, the term metal, and hardcore, I mean, obviously everyone was taking influences from different bands, maybe some more metal, maybe some more hardcore, but we just came out at that time. Ascendancy was the right record at the right time for us. It really took us to the next level from a van band into being on buses, doing tours like Ozfest and all that kind of stuff. But for us, we've just continued to write and evolve as writers and try to take away any inhibitions that kind of get in the way of, like, oh, we got to write for this, or we got to fit into that, or we got to make these people happy. It's more of, let's just write good riffs, try to make the best songs we can, and just become better players, and then you sort of evolve into what your sound is. Like, all the influences are just kind of subconscious now. I don't think, well, we got to make this sound like a Megadeth riff, or we got to make this sound like whatever band you're thinking of. It's just, you write, you've been listening to these records all your life, so they're going to be with you, they're going to be in your head, but when you just sit down and write, you just try to make the best riffs you can, and whether it's metalcore to someone or classic metal or anything, it's just, for us, we're just having fun with it and trying to make the best stuff we can.
Cool. All right, now, so you do have the new album coming out. What's it called? What can people expect? The people that really loved your last album, what changes should they brace for?
Well, the album's called In Waves, and the song In Waves is out right now, and also a song called Dust Dismantled. And actually tomorrow, another song comes out called Inception of the End. And I guess for people that have been listening to us for a while, the only way I can really describe it is that we've definitely incorporated some new stuff, but it's mainly what we've been doing for the last couple of records, just matured and more refined. The thing we focused on is writing the best songs we could, like I said, the best riffs, and that's the goal now. It's not like, well, we're going to change it up now and all of a sudden we're going to be this sort of band. We're just trying to define what Trivium is, and this is the album where I think we can really say, yes, this is a Trivium album. You don't, you're not going to be picking apart the riffs like, well, that's this band's riff and that band's riff. It's like, this is a Trivium album. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right, now, just recently, like within, I think it was last week or so, they announced that music sales have gone up for the first time, and you actually heard about that. They gone up the first time in like well over a decade. Yeah. Do you think that the tides are turning, or do you think we're headed towards, in music, something like Netflix where nobody owns anything and we all just stream everything?
I think it's going to be a mix of it all. I think streaming will become a very important part of the way people get their music, but I think there'll always be people that really want to have the physical copies, or they want to own the MP3s and not just have it floating around in the internet cloud. So it's going to be a mix. It'll be a personal preference, and I'm 100% for things going that way, because I don't think you can really force people into one thing anymore. People want, their own personal preferences. They want things the way they want. On demand is, huge. I mean, you look at TV and movies, there's no reason why music shouldn't be like that. And maybe it's not going to be the same kind of revenue maker as a CD is, but in the grand scheme of things, if it's getting more people into music and people can discover stuff easier, then it benefits everyone.
Cool. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm addicted to I got something called the Roku box, and it's just Okay, so I'm sensing you might be a little bit of a nerd, are you?
Yeah, I definitely keep up on technical and internet stuff, so I'm into it. It's the way forward. You may as well just get with it and have the best things as opposed to trying to fight it. And I mean, I like old stuff too. I like vinyl stuff. I like that it's a mix now. Obviously vinyl's up as well, which is crazy. It's who would have thought that everyone thought it was dead, and then all of a sudden it reemerges and it's popular now. Some people are into it. It's all about niche and what people are into, not about necessarily forcing the masses to have one thing anymore. It's people get what they want.
Well, I got to ask you then. I got to ask you the ultimate fighting question of all nerds: Android or Apple?
Definitely Apple.
Oh, you suck. So
you can't fight it. They're just too good with their stuff.
Yeah, well, I like the open source. I like I like the open source of Android, and I like the free. Steve Jobs is a maniacal ruler.
They definitely try to force you into the Apple world, though, which is I don't know. I think eventually, though, it's going to have to kind of open up to that, because I think people will dictate that no, we don't want to be closed into that world, but right now they have everyone by the balls, including the music industry. So iTunes, you can't really compete with it at the moment until streaming. Who knows? That could be the game changer right there.
Now, being a forward-thinking person and kind of one of the younger sets of bands, I got to ask, if you were put in charge of, say, Obama came to you and said, I want you to save the music industry. I want you to brainstorm, how do we save the music industry and get it back on track? Give us your solution. How are you going to save the music industry? What things are you going to put in place?
Well, I'd say this is probably what could probably save everything, is everyone's got to be reasonable, and there's got to be a give and take. Labels can't have everything they want. It's not going to be, the 80s, 90s heyday of super corporate, fancy jets flying around type thing. At the same time, artists can't expect that, you're going to make millions of dollars on your first album right away. It's kind of a medium now. It's like there's not as much money, but it can still be made if you're smart and forward thinking. And you just have to. Both sides have to give and take a little bit, and I think it needs to be more of a working relationship as opposed to just thinking about the money. You have to really think, how are you going to have a long-term career in it? And that's really what it comes down to now. It's not going to be the same as it ever was. So you gotta think outside the box, and everyone's got to be reasonable about it.
Okay, now before we end up drown rats because it's raining on us, what final words do you have for the fans of Trivium and just the viewers of Rock My Monkey TV?
Well, definitely have to thank the Trivium fans for keeping us out on the road and once again coming out to see us on Mayhem. And anyone watching, if you don't know about us or you've only heard a couple things, definitely check out the new stuff. I think it will be worth your time listening, so thank you.
All right, cool. Well, and one last time, what's the name of the album and what's the due date?
It is In Waves, and it comes out August 9th.